Did you know that there are fish that can live without water? The climbing perch can leave the water and crawl on land for several days. This fish has the unique ability to absorb oxygen directly from the air and even walk using its fins. Thanks to a special structure in its gills, it can breathe atmospheric air. It uses its strong tail to move across the ground, almost like a small lizard. Is it true that humans can see more colors than most other mammals? Human vision is far more advanced than that of most mammals. Our eyes have three types of color receptors, known as cones, which allow us to perceive thousands of shades. While many animals see only in black and white or can distinguish just a few basic colors, humans can enjoy a rich variety of hues. For example, dogs see the world mostly in shades of yellow and blue, while we can perceive the full spectrum of the rainbow and beyond. This amazing visual perception helps us navigate the world and appreciate its beauty. Oxford University is older than the Aztec Empire. This famous university was founded in the 12th century, long before the Aztecs began building their great empire in the 14th century. Oxford University has witnessed the rise and fall of entire civilizations and has survived through dozens of historical eras. This academic giant, with its centuries-long history, continues to be a beacon of knowledge and culture, attracting students from all over the world. Imagine, when European cities were just beginning to develop, Oxford was already a center of learning, surviving wars, changing borders and revolutions. Fold a piece of paper 42 times and you'll reach the moon. Imagine this. If you could fold a piece of paper 42 times, it would become so thick that it could reach the moon. This incredible concept is tied to the exponential increase in the paper's thickness with each fold. Of course, in reality, it's almost impossible to fold a piece of paper more than 7 or 8 times due to its physical structure. But theoretically, it would work. This fun fact shows just how fascinating mathematics can be and how difficult it is for physical objects to adhere to such theoretical rules. Try it yourself and see how many times you can fold a piece of paper. Can you imagine that computer memory once used magnetic rings? In the early days of computing, memory was made up of tiny magnetic rings through which electrical signals were passed. These rings stored data, and they could be erased by reversing the current. Despite their small size, this technology was groundbreaking and used until microchips were invented. The rings were literally strung on wires, and every bit of memory was worth its weight in gold. Antarctica is the largest desert on Earth. Antarctica, despite all its ice and snow, is actually the largest desert in the world. Yes, you heard that right. The criteria that define a desert are low levels of precipitation, and in Antarctica, very little moisture falls. The average annual precipitation in some parts of the continent is similar to that of the Sahara. This makes Antarctica a true ice desert, where endless ice fields stretch instead of scorching sands. This fact highlights that deserts come in many forms, both hot and cold, and nature always has a surprise in store. The inventor of the Super Soaker water gun worked for NASA. Who would have thought that Lonnie Johnson, the creator of the famous Super Soaker water gun, was an engineer at NASA? Johnson worked on developing advanced technologies for space missions, such as the Galileo project to Jupiter. But in his spare time, he developed toys, and one of his ideas became a global hit. The Super Soaker became an iconic water gun that kids around the world played with. This example shows that innovation can come from the most unexpected places, and an engineer's genius can create not only space technology, but also unforgettable childhood moments. Did you know that animals can be allergic to humans? Believe it or not, allergies aren't just a human problem. Animals can suffer from them too. Some pets can develop allergies to human dander, just like we can be allergic to animal fur. This can cause symptoms such as breathing difficulties and skin irritation, much like the allergic reactions we experience. It's a surprising reminder that allergies don't discriminate between species, and even our beloved furry friends can be sensitive to us. Is it possible? There's blue fire on volcanoes. On the island of Java, Indonesia, stands the Aegean volcano, famous for its unique natural phenomenon, blue fire. This extraordinary sight is caused by the high concentration of sulfur in volcanic gases, which ignites upon contact with the air, producing a bright blue flame. This blue fire can only be seen at night, creating a breathtaking and almost mystical display. Tourists from all over the world travel here to witness this rare phenomenon that cannot be seen anywhere else. Believe it or not, the world's deepest lake holds 20% of all the fresh water on Earth. Lake Baikal, located in Siberia, is not only the deepest lake in the world, but also contains 20% of the world's freshwater reserves. Its depth reaches over 1.5 kilometers, and its volume of water is so vast that it could supply fresh water to the entire planet for several years. This incredible lake is also home to unique species of animals and plants that can't be found anywhere else in the world. Lake Baikal is truly a natural treasure. Believe it or not, your brain generates about 70,000 thoughts a day. Imagine your brain as a factory of ideas, working non-stop. Every day it generates around 70,000 thoughts. That means a new idea, memory, or decision is born in your head every few seconds. This incredible ability allows us to multitask and quickly adapt, processing thousands of decisions automatically. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by thoughts, remember, your brain's powerful thinking factory is in full operation. Elephants fear bees, and that saves farms. Elephants are giants of the savannah, but there's something tiny that makes them run away. Bees. African farmers discovered that elephants are terrified of these buzzing insects. Using this fear, they started setting up beehives along the borders of their fields. These beehive fences create a natural bee barrier, and elephants, hearing the buzzing, avoid these areas to avoid painful stings. This ingenious solution helps farmers protect their crops from being trampled, maintaining a peaceful coexistence with these majestic animals without resorting to violence. Nature truly is the best ally. Is it possible that sharks don't get cancer? Sharks are considered some of the most resilient creatures on the planet, and their unique regenerative abilities protect them from many diseases. Although sharks can get cancer, it happens very rarely because their immune system is extremely strong. Studying shark tissues has helped scientists better understand how to fight diseases and prolong human life. These ancient predators hold many secrets, and their bodies inspire breakthroughs in medicine. The flight of the chicken. Why don't chickens fly like eagles? Imagine this. The longest flight a chicken has ever made lasted only 13 seconds. Although chickens have wings, they aren't designed for long flights. Unlike eagles and other birds, chickens can only take short hops and fly a few meters by flapping their wings. This feature is due to their anatomy. Their bodies are too heavy, and their wing muscles are not developed enough for sustained flight. However, in rare cases, chickens can cover significant distances, but this is the exception rather than the rule. So next time you see a chicken, remember, it may be a bird, but it's far from being an aerial creature. Is it possible? The world's largest flower can reach 3 feet in diameter. Meet the Rafflesia, a giant flower that astonishes with its size. The diameter of this extraordinary plant can reach nearly 1 meter, making it a true botanical wonder. But it's not just its size that makes the Rafflesia famous. Its smell resembles rotting meat, attracting pollinating insects. This enormous, eccentric plant perfectly illustrates the diversity of nature, showing that flowers can be not only beautiful, but also absolutely surprising. Turns out there are bridges that speak. In some places, such as the Millennium Bridge in London, special plates emit sounds when people walk on them. These sounds are designed to resemble whispers or voices, creating a unique atmosphere. Especially at night, such a bridge becomes a real attraction, drawing tourists with its mystical sounds. Did you know that some mushrooms can glow in the dark? Certain types of mushrooms have a magical ability to glow in the dark, creating a mystical forest scene. This phenomenon is called bioluminescence. When walking through the woods at night, some mushrooms emit a soft, mysterious glow, turning the forest floor into a fairy tale. This glow attracts insects, helping the mushrooms spread their spores, making them not only beautiful, but functional. Bioluminescent mushrooms are yet another example of nature's wonders. Why hasn't Ireland's population recovered 160 years after the famine? Imagine a country unable to fully recover its population for more than a century and a half. That's precisely what happened to Ireland after the Great Potato Famine of the mid-19th century. The famine, caused by crop failures, led to the deaths of hundreds of thousands and the mass emigration of millions of Irish people around the world. Even today, 160 years later, Ireland's population is still 2 million less than it was before this tragedy. This incredible demographic puzzle remains a testament to the devastating impact of those events. Have you ever noticed that fresh, earthy smell after rain? This unique scent, known as petrichor, fills the air when rain first touches dry soil. The term petrichor comes from the Greek words petra, stone, and ichor, which is the fluid said to flow in the veins of the gods. It's as if each drop of rain reveals the earth's hidden fragrance, captivating our senses with a touch of nature's charm. Did you know there are 1,500 types of tea? The world of tea is a universe of flavors and aromas. There are about 1,500 types of tea, ranging from familiar black and green teas to exotic blends with fruits and herbs. Millions of people around the world drink tea, and each type offers a unique experience and its own health benefits. Drinking tea is a whole ritual in which you can explore different cultures and traditions, discovering new flavors with every sip. Is it true that blood type O is the most common in the world? Yes, blood type O is indeed the most common on the planet. Approximately 38% of the world's population has this blood type, making it not only the most frequent, but also highly valuable for transfusions. Because of its universal compatibility, type O blood can be given to anyone with a positive blood type, which makes it critical in medical emergencies. If you have blood type O, know that you possess a valuable resource that could save countless lives. Did you know that lightning is hotter than the sun? The temperature of lightning can reach up to 30,000 degrees Celsius, which is 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. This incredible natural phenomenon is one of the most powerful forces on Earth. When lightning strikes, it releases an enormous amount of energy in just a few milliseconds, heating the air around it to extreme temperatures. Lightning is truly nature's own flamethrower, bringing intense heat with every flash. The inventor of pop-up ads regrets it. The story of the most annoying internet invention. In the 90s, pop-up ads seemed like a great idea. Ethan Zuckerman created them to separate advertising content from the main one, but they quickly became an annoying part of the internet. Years later, Zuckerman publicly apologized for his invention, admitting that it caused more harm than good. This is an example of how technologies created with good intentions can turn into real problems. What if I told you that you can boil water just by shaking it? Yes, it's true, although practically impossible to do. If you shake a container of water fast and hard enough, you can create friction, which will raise the water's temperature. Theoretically, if you shake it quickly enough, you could even bring the water to a boil. This unusual physics experiment shows how mechanical energy can be converted into heat. While you won't be making tea this way, the mere possibility that shaking could boil water is astonishing. How would you react if you found out that snails can sleep for up to 3 years? Some species of snails can enter a deep sleep called estivation to survive harsh conditions like extreme drought or lack of food. During this time, they slow down almost all their bodily functions and seal themselves inside their shells with a protective layer. This state of dormancy can last for up to 3 years, allowing them to wait out unfavorable conditions until the environment becomes more hospitable. It's like going to sleep and waking up years later, only to find that the world around you has changed completely. Believe it or not, polar bears have black skin under their white fur. A polar bear's fur may look white, but underneath, its skin is actually black. This isn't just a natural curiosity. It's an important adaptation that helps polar bears absorb more heat from the sun and stay warm in the icy Arctic climate. It's like wearing a natural solar-powered suit that helps them survive in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Why do you think lightning can strike the same place multiple times? Contrary to popular belief, lightning can strike the same place multiple times. For example, the Empire State Building in New York is hit by up to 100 lightning bolts every year. This happens because tall buildings and structures attract electric discharges. The tops of these buildings are equipped with lightning rods to protect them from strikes, making multiple lightning strikes not just possible, but common. Can you imagine that the moon is slowly drifting away from Earth? Each year, the moon moves about 3.5 centimeters farther away from Earth. This happens due to tidal interactions between the Earth and the moon. Billions of years ago, the moon was much closer, and in billions of years, it may drift out of Earth's gravitational pull altogether. Though this process is incredibly slow, Scientists track it using lasers and reflectors left on the moon by the Apollo missions. Turtles, ancient relics with armor from the past. Turtles are among the oldest reptiles on our planet. Their shells are not just armor, but part of their skeleton that has protected them for over 200 million years. They have witnessed dinosaurs come and go, survived ice ages and mass extinctions. Some species can live over 150 years, and leatherback turtles can weigh up to 900 kilograms. They can swim across oceans, covering thousands of kilometers in search of food. Turtles are true masters of survival, carrying their mystery and charm through the ages. Why is kissing camels banned in Egypt? And what could happen if you disobey? In Egypt, you can find signs warning, "No camel kissing." And it's not as strange as it sounds. These animals can be unpredictable, and they also carry infections that can be transmitted to humans. Despite their friendly appearance, camels can show aggression, especially when they feel threatened. It's better to keep a safe distance and settle for a photo to avoid any unpleasant surprises. Organic food, truth or myth about its benefits? Research shows that there is no significant difference between organic and conventional foods in terms of nutritional value. While many believe that organic products are healthier and taste better, science doesn't support major distinctions. Some studies have also found no notable differences in taste. However, people often choose organic foods for lower pesticide levels and more eco-friendly farming practices. When choosing between organic and conventional, it's up to each person to decide what matters most: taste or caring for the planet. Did you know the term internet was first used in 1974? We all know the internet is an essential part of modern life, but did you know the first mention of the word was in 1974? At that time, internet was used to describe a global network of interconnected computer systems. Back then, it was a novelty, but by the end of the 20th century, the internet became a revolutionary technology that changed the world. Today, billions of people are connected online, and the internet has become not just a communication tool, but also a key platform for business, science, and education. How about this? In Italy, there is a village built on lava. In Italy, at the foot of Mount Etna, lies the village of Bronte, known for having some of its homes built directly on ancient lava flows. Volcanic eruptions often created layers of lava so solid that entire structures could be built on top. This unique feature has made Bronte famous worldwide. What's even more astonishing is that the locals are not afraid to live next to an active volcano, believing that the ancient lava protects their homes from new eruptions. Butterflies taste with their feet. Butterflies travel the world not just by flying, but by walking on their food. They have taste receptors located right on their feet, giving them a sort of built-in gourmet GPS. These special sensors allow butterflies to quickly find the perfect leaves to lay their eggs. Imagine living in a world where you don't taste with your mouth, but with your feet. Butterflies live in that curious reality every day. Blindsight. How can someone see without realizing it? Imagine being blind but still being able to see movements and objects. This phenomenon is known as blindsight. It occurs in people with damage to the visual cortex. Even though they don't see in the conventional sense, they can intuitively detect the location of objects and even guess where they are moving. How is this possible? Other parts of the brain are still able to process visual information. This fascinating phenomenon makes us wonder about how much our brain does in the background without us even being aware of it. Is it true that time flows differently in space? Yes, and it's due to Einstein's theory of relativity. The faster you move or the closer you are to an object with a strong gravitational field, the slower time passes for you relative to the rest of the universe. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station literally age more slowly because they're moving at high speeds. This phenomenon is called gravitational time dilation. What's hidden in LEGO's secret vault? LEGO has a secret underground vault that stores every single set of building blocks the company has ever made. It's a true time capsule filled with nostalgia and creativity, waiting to delight fans of all ages. Imagine the wonders hidden beneath this vault, where both classic and modern sets are stored together. This vault is a dream come true for LEGO enthusiasts, preserving the company's entire legacy. Imagine for a moment, frogs can freeze but not die. Have you ever wondered how nature copes with winter's cold? Some species of frogs have found an incredible way to survive the winter. They literally freeze but don't die. Their bodies produce a special anti-freeze that prevents ice from damaging their cells. As soon as the temperature rises, these frogs simply thaw out and go on living as if nothing happened. This amazing mechanism is yet another testament to nature's incredible adaptation to harsh conditions. It turns out Sudan has more pyramids than Egypt. When we think of pyramids, Egypt is the first place that comes to mind. But here's a surprising fact. Sudan actually has more pyramids than Egypt. Egypt has about 138 pyramids, while Sudan boasts a whopping 255. These ancient structures, though less famous, represent a treasure trove of history yet to be discovered. If you love pyramids and ancient history, Sudan could be your next big adventure. Olympus Mons is the largest volcano in the solar system. Olympus Mons, located on Mars, is the largest volcano in the solar system. It stands at a height of 21 kilometers, with a base diameter of 600 kilometers. This colossal mountain is so huge that if you stacked 3 Mount Everests on top of each other, they still wouldn't reach its summit. Olympus Mons is a true mountain of fire and one of Mars's greatest mysteries. Did you know that squirrels can cause power outages? It turns out that cute, fluffy squirrels can cause significant damage to the power grid. In the United States, about 10 to 20% of all power outages happen because squirrels accidentally come into contact with wires and electrical equipment. These little mischief makers love climbing power lines, sometimes touching dangerous parts of the equipment. This leads to short circuits and outages that can affect entire cities. Who would have thought that such innocent-looking creatures could cause serious energy problems? Next time you see a squirrel on a tree, think about its potential as a saboteur. Have you ever wondered where the word okay came from? Can you imagine that one of the most popular words in the world came from a simple joke? In 1839 in Boston, the phrase all correct was intentionally misspelled as all correct in a humorous newspaper article. This abbreviation, shortened to OK, quickly became common in everyday language. Since then, OK has become universal, understood in almost every corner of the world. It signifies agreement, affirmation, or just a friendly gesture. From humble beginnings to global spread, OK proves that even a joke can become a linguistic phenomenon. Now, when you use this word, you can remember its amusing origins. It's hard to believe, but the Hercules beetle can lift 850 times its own weight. This incredible insect lives up to its mighty name. The Hercules beetle is capable of lifting loads that are 850 times heavier than its own body weight. With such astonishing strength, it's no wonder that this beetle stands as a symbol of nature's incredible feats of strength. The Hercules beetle is a true powerhouse in the insect world, showing that even the smallest creatures can perform extraordinary feats. Why can dung beetles navigate by the stars? These tiny creatures have a unique ability to use the stars as a compass. At night, they look at the Milky Way to always move in the right direction and stay on course. This is especially important when they transport their precious dung balls over long distances, as these provide them with both food and protection. Surprisingly, scientists have found that their eyes, while not highly developed, are sensitive to starlight. This celestial navigation helps them stay oriented even in the complete darkness of deserts and savannas. Have you ever thought about the fact that you can see a double rainbow on Mars? Surprisingly, it's true. On Mars, you can sometimes witness not just one, but a double rainbow. However, these aren't the rainbows we're used to seeing on Earth. The Martian atmosphere is so thin that ordinary raindrops don't form, but rainbows can appear due to fine dust and ice crystals floating in the air. Even though there's no rain on Mars, these dusty rainbows look particularly mesmerizing. But if you want to see one, you'll have to wait. Martian weather phenomena happen very rarely. Do you suffer from kenophobia, fear of empty spaces? Kenophobia is a rare and unusual fear of empty spaces. People who have this fear feel uncomfortable in overly open places, where there is no furniture or objects, creating a sense of fullness. Imagine playing hide and seek with someone who has kenophobia. The thought of finding a place to hide in a large empty room could become a real nightmare. This phobia highlights just how different our perceptions of the world around us can be. Did you know the first alarm clock could only ring at one time? Imagine an alarm clock that only rings at 4 in the morning. That's exactly what the first alarm clock was like, invented by Levi Hutchins in 1787. This primitive, but at the time innovative device was designed solely for Hutchins' personal use. It didn't allow the user to choose a time, but it guaranteed an early rise. After all, 4 a.m. leaves no room for just 5 more minutes. Nonetheless, this invention was the forerunner of the modern alarm clocks we now wrestle with every morning. Believe it or not, the longest earthquake lasted 10 minutes. In 1960, Chile experienced the longest earthquake ever recorded, lasting an astonishing 10 minutes. This seismic event, caused by massive geological forces, triggered devastating tsunamis that even reached the shores of Japan. The earthquake left behind not only physical damage, but also a deep impact on our understanding of tectonic activity and its influence on Earth's surface. It demonstrated the incredible power of the planet and the constant movement of its layers, reminding us that Earth is never truly still. Owls don't just see, they mesmerize. Owls don't have typical eyeballs. Instead, they have specialized tubular eyes. This unique adaptation allows them to keep their eyes fixed, giving them exceptional binocular vision and the ability to rotate their heads almost 270 degrees. Thanks to this, owls become masters of nighttime hunting, detecting even the slightest movements in complete darkness. Their eyes are more than just organs of sight. They are powerful tools that make them incredible hunters. And every time they turn their heads, it's like witnessing nature's magic in action. How about this? Dubai has an artificial archipelago in the shape of a world map. The world is an artificial archipelago consisting of 300 islands designed to mimic the outlines of all continents. Each island is intended for private homes or hotels, and owners can choose their country. This project reflects Dubai's ambition, creating incredible landmarks out of sand and water, making them iconic attractions in the region. Coca-Cola and its secret ingredients. The name Coca-Cola comes from two of its original ingredients, coca leaves and cola nuts, which were used to give the drink its distinctive taste and effects. The coca leaves provided a mild stimulant, while the cola nuts added caffeine. Today, the exact formula of Coca-Cola remains a closely guarded secret. Despite changes to the recipe, the story behind its creation and the brand's mystique continue to fascinate people around the world. Did you know that earthquakes also happen on the moon? Yes, indeed. The moon experiences its own kind of tremors, known as moonquakes. These shakes can be caused by Earth's gravitational pull, meteor impacts, or tidal forces, and they can last for up to an hour. Surprisingly, moonquakes can reach magnitudes of up to 5.5 on the Richter scale. Just imagine, the moon, our constant celestial companion, reacts to Earth's gravitational pull as if dancing in space alongside our planet. This shows that the moon is more alive and dynamic than we might think. Did you know that the Tower of London was once bright white? In the Middle Ages, the Tower of London wasn't gray as it is today, but instead it was covered with a white plaster, earning it the nickname White Tower. At that time, white plaster symbolized strength and purity. Every few years, the tower was repainted to maintain its bright appearance. Over time, the coating wore away, and the tower became gray due to dirt and pollution. But once, it really was a gleaming white pearl on the London skyline. Did you know that frogs can retract their eyes to swallow food? Some species of frogs have an incredible ability to help them swallow their prey. They retract their eyes into their heads. When a frog catches an insect or small prey, its eyes sink deep into its skull, creating pressure that pushes the food down its throat. It's a strange yet fascinating spectacle in the world of amphibians. Frogs have evolved amazing adaptations that allow them to survive in various environments. And this is just one of the many unique features of their anatomy. Did you know the Hawaiian alphabet has only 12 letters? The Hawaiian alphabet is one of the most unique in the world, consisting of just 5 vowels, E, A, E, I, O, U, and 7 consonants, H, K, L, M, N, P, W. This minimalist alphabet forms the foundation of one of the most musical and melodious languages. It reflects the simplicity and beauty of Hawaiian culture, harmonizing with the breathtaking landscapes of the islands. Next time you're in Hawaii, impress your friends with your knowledge of this linguistic island paradise. Can you believe that in the USA there was once a reign of spiders? In the small town of Golden, Colorado, in 2015, an unusual natural phenomenon occurred, which locals called the reign of spiders. Thousands of spiders fell from the sky, filling the streets and yards. Scientists explain this by the fact that spiders use a technique called ballooning, where they take off into the sky on their webs and travel great distances using wind. This phenomenon can be observed in various parts of the world, but such a massive rain shocked the locals. Did you know that Big Ben is not a clock? Actually, Big Ben is not the name of the clock or the tower, but the bell inside the clock tower. Its full name is the Great Bell of Westminster, but people simply call it Big Ben. It chimes every hour, creating a melody heard by Londoners and visitors alike. It's one of the most recognizable landmarks in the world, and now you know the real story behind the name. The Babylonian lottery, fate decides dinner. Imagine your dinner invitation being decided by a lottery. In ancient Babylon, there was a lottery where fate literally determined who would attend the feast. This method of selecting banquet guests added an element of randomness and unpredictability to social life. Fate played a decisive role in who would be at the dinner table. This ancient custom shows just how much in life can depend on chance, especially when it comes to something as delightful as dinner. Who would have thought that polar bears have black skin? Yes, beneath their snowy white fur, polar bears actually have black skin. This may seem surprising, but nature designed these animals to have the best possible insulation for surviving in freezing environments. Their black skin helps them absorb more sunlight, while their hollow, transparent fur traps the sun's rays, creating a thermos effect. This incredible adaptation allows polar bears to stay warm in the extreme Arctic cold. Although their fur appears white, it merely reflects the surrounding light, making them almost invisible against the snow and ice. Is it true that in Argentina there is a river that burns? The Quirecura River in Argentina is famous for its unusual fiery phenomena. Periodically, fiery geysers erupt from its depths. This happens due to underground methane deposits, which ignite when they come into contact with air. Amazingly, this river is not only a beautiful natural phenomenon, but also raises concerns among scientists, as constant gas emissions could signal larger natural disasters. Locals call it the River of Spirits, linking it to ancient legends. Can you believe it? Cows have best friends. Cows, beyond being valuable farm animals, are incredibly social creatures with rich emotional lives. They can form strong friendships with other cows, and if separated from their best friends, they can become stressed. Cows often spend time together, graze in pairs, and express their emotions through unique vocalizations. Their social bonds highlight that cows are not just animals providing milk, but they have their own emotional worlds that deserve recognition. Did you know New Zealand has an official wizard? In 1990, the government of New Zealand officially granted the title of wizard to Ian Brackenbury. His duties include spreading magic and joy throughout the country. This wizard on call has become a true cultural icon, filling his homeland with magic and smiles. If you need a wizard, just head to New Zealand. He's always on hand. This is a great example of how a country can officially invite magic into everyday life. Is it true that Iceland has no railways? Iceland really has no railways, despite technological advancements in other countries. The main reason is the geographical features of the country, which consists of volcanic rocks and mountainous terrain, making railway construction extremely difficult and expensive. Additionally, due to the small population, roads are a more convenient mode of transport. So despite all the progress, you won't find trains there. Can you imagine that some fungi control insects? Deep in the Amazon rainforest lives a fungus called Ophiocordyceps, which literally turns ants into zombies. The fungus invades the ant's body and takes over its mind, forcing it to climb up a tree before it dies. Then the fungus sprouts out of the ant's head and releases spores to infect others. It sounds like a horror movie plot, but these fungi really exist, and it's one of nature's most mind-blowing phenomena. Why is Mauna Kea volcano 10 times taller than Everest? Mauna Kea on Hawaii is not just a volcano, but a towering structure that extends deep below the ocean's surface. Its above-water section is over 4,000 meters tall, but its underwater slopes stretch even further. Taking the full height of Mauna Kea from base to summit, It measures over 10,000 meters, making it far taller than Everest. Though its peak is hidden underwater, Mauna Kea is one of the tallest mountains on Earth. It's hard to believe, but sea stars can evert their stomachs. Sea stars have a bizarre and fascinating way of eating. They can push their stomachs outside their bodies to digest their prey. When a sea star encounters something too big to fit in its mouth, like a clam or mussel, it wraps its stomach around the prey, releasing digestive enzymes to break down the food. Once the meal is digested, the sea star pulls its stomach back inside, along with the nutrients. This unique method makes them some of the most unconventional predators in the ocean. Talk about dining al fresco. Can you imagine the world's smallest frog is less than 1 centimeter long? The world's smallest frog, Paedophryne amoensis, hails from Papua New Guinea and measures just 7.7 millimeters. That's less than 1 centimeter. Weighing only 1/100th of a gram, this tiny amphibian blends into the forest floor and feeds on small insects. Despite its minuscule size, its loud insect-like call makes it one of the most unique creatures in the rainforest. Did you know Sirius is the brightest star in the night sky? When you look up at the night sky, you probably notice a bright star shining more brilliantly than all the others. That's Sirius, also known as the dog star. Located in the constellation Canis Major, Sirius has a magnitude of -1.46, making it the brightest star visible from Earth. Although it seems close, Sirius is about 8.6 light-years away, adding a sense of mystery and wonder to the night sky. Penguins propose with pebbles at a lee. Penguin males don't just seek a mate. They stage a true, romantic ritual in the icy vastness of Antarctica. When it's time to win over a female, the male carefully selects the smoothest and most beautiful pebble he can find and presents it to his chosen one as a symbol of his affection. If she accepts this gift, she's ready to pair up with him. This charming gesture has become a symbol of courtship among penguins, adding a touch of warmth to the frozen Antarctic landscape. Imagine if we replaced engagement rings with pebbles. Did you know almonds and peaches are relatives? It turns out that almonds and peaches are members of the same plant family, Rosaceae. These two fruits are distant cousins in the plant world. Despite their differences, they share many biological traits. So next time you enjoy almonds or peaches, remember that your favorite snacks are actually relatives. And nature is full of surprising connections. One spaghetti noodle is called spaghetto. Spaghetti is one of the world's most popular dishes, but did you know that if you have just one noodle, it's called a spaghetto? This quirky grammar twist adds a touch of loneliness to an otherwise delicious meal. So if you ever find yourself dining alone on a single strand of spaghetti, don't feel bad. You're just following proper Italian grammar rules. Italian grammar makes food not only delicious, but also a little more poetic. Cows have a phenomenal sense of smell. Cows can boast an extraordinary sense of smell, capable of detecting scents from up to 6 million meters away. This means a cow can sniff out fresh grass or a water source from miles away. This sensitivity helps cows navigate their surroundings, find food, and avoid danger. But their sense of smell isn't just about finding food, it also helps them recognize their calves and even other herd members. This ability underscores how important the world of scents is to them and how closely they are connected to the natural environment. Why are honey mushrooms considered the largest living organisms on the planet? In the forests of Oregon, there is one of the largest organisms on Earth, the honey fungus Armillaria ostoya. This fungus covers an area of over 9 square kilometers and has been growing for thousands of years. Underground, it forms giant mycelial networks that connect trees and other plants. Above ground, it may look like just a few mushrooms, but beneath the surface lies an enormous network rivaling the size of large cities. Why do people love talking about themselves? Studies show that people spend about 60% of their conversation time talking about themselves. And on social media, this number goes up to 80%. This is because people enjoy sharing their thoughts, experiences, and personal stories. Especially in the age of social media, these platforms have become spaces for self-expression and connection. This fact provides an intriguing insight into human nature, the desire for communication and recognition. Did you know the largest living organism on Earth is a mushroom? The honey fungus, also known as the giant mushroom, covers an astonishing 2,385 acres in the Malheur National Forest in Oregon, USA. This fungus forms a massive underground network of mycelium, which is the vegetative part of the fungus that spreads beneath the soil. The mycelium isn't visible to the naked eye, but it is responsible for the mushrooms that appear above the ground. Can you imagine one organism covering such a vast area? It's a true wonder of nature that few people know about. Millionaire. Without a million, how to get rich from scratch? Who would have thought that in today's world, you can become a millionaire without a single penny? The term millionaire has long been synonymous with wealth and success, but did you know that there's a phenomenon called a nillionaire, from the word nil, zero? This term describes people who, in reality, don't have a million or any significant capital, but live a lifestyle that suggests high status. This can be connected to borrowed funds, loans, or the creation of an impression of wealth, though there's no real capital behind it. In an age where social media can turn anyone into a star, this phenomenon is becoming increasingly relevant. Who would have thought that you can appear rich without having real wealth? It's interesting that messages in bottles can travel for years across the sea. Sometimes bottles with messages thrown into the sea can float for years before reaching a shore. The longest recorded journey of such a message lasted about 133 years. During that time, the bottle traveled thousands of kilometers. These random journeys have inspired countless stories, and even in our digital age, people continue to throw bottles into the ocean, hoping to connect with future generations. The story of the word dude. From insult to friendly greeting? The word dude first appeared in the 1800s as a derogatory term for men who were overly concerned with fashion. But over time, its meaning shifted, and by the mid-20th century, it became a casual term for addressing friends or even strangers. Today, dude is a friendly word that can refer to almost anyone and has become a staple of everyday slang. Who would have thought that a word that started as an insult would end up as a friendly greeting? Why are soap bubbles always round? The answer to this question is simple, but quite fascinating. Soap bubbles take on a round shape because it is the most stable and energy-efficient form for holding air inside. When you blow a bubble, the soap film naturally tries to distribute the surface tension evenly. A spherical shape is ideal because it minimizes the surface area, which helps the bubble maintain its structure. Although bubbles can take on other shapes if blown through specific devices or confined spaces, in free flight, they always return to their natural spherical form. It's an example of how the laws of physics manifest in even the simplest things, like soap bubbles. Did you know there are about 4,000 satellites flying above you? Currently, over 4,000 active satellites are orbiting Earth, performing various tasks. They provide GPS signals, weather data, telecommunications, and even climate monitoring. But that's not all. Each year, more satellites are launched into orbit, raising serious concerns about space debris, which could threaten future space missions. The story of ink saving. How a period saved a newspaper thousands of dollars. How important do you think a tiny change in logo design could be? In 1967, the New York Times decided to remove the period at the end of its name. This decision wasn't driven by aesthetics, but by savings. The newspaper calculated that dropping the period could save them a significant amount of ink, around $600 a year, which today equals approximately $6,000. While such an amount may seem insignificant at first for publishers, it became an example of how even the smallest changes can lead to substantial resource savings. Imagine how one small decision could impact the budget of an entire company. The legend of the cookie. How Nestle got the recipe in exchange for chocolate. We all love chocolate chip cookies, but do you know how they became so popular? In the 1930s, Ruth Wakefield invented the famous Toll House chocolate chip cookie, but she didn't sell the recipe to Nestle. Instead, Ruth made a deal where Nestle would print her recipe on their chocolate bars, and in return, she received a lifetime supply of chocolate. That's how chocolate chip cookies became a worldwide favorite, and Ruth Wakefield's name went down in culinary history. Why can you hear bridges in Italy? In Venice, some ancient bridges literally sing due to vibrations. In certain spots, plates are installed to create sounds when people walk on them. The effect is caused by resonance and the unique construction of the bridges. On a quiet night when the city sleeps, the bridges become musical instruments, played by tourists rather than musicians. These sounds give Venice a distinctive charm, echoing the city's long history. Is it possible in Tokyo there is an inverted tower that goes more than 60 floors underground? The Japanese are known for their engineering ingenuity, and the inverted tower project is one of the most ambitious. This tower, unlike traditional skyscrapers, goes deep underground instead of soaring into the sky. Built in the dense urban landscape, it is an innovative solution for creating new office and living spaces in a land-scarce environment. Imagine walking down the street and below you, there's a whole underground city. Amazingly, octopuses have 3 hearts. Octopuses are fascinating creatures with 3 hearts. One pumps blood to the body, and the other 2 pump blood through the gills. Moreover, their blood is blue because it contains copper instead of iron. This makes octopuses not only mysterious, but also some of the most unique creatures on Earth. It's hard to imagine that nature could create such amazing beings with such a unique system. Why can the leaves of giant water lilies support a person's weight? The leaves of giant water lilies, like the Amazonian Victoria, can grow over 3 meters in diameter and hold up to 70 kilograms. Their structure resembles a strong network that distributes weight evenly, preventing the leaf from sinking. These plants are true wonders of nature and have become popular in botanical gardens worldwide thanks to their beauty and remarkable strength. Did you know there is no concept of sound in space? The vacuum of space does not transmit sound waves because there are no molecules to carry them. This means that explosions or loud events in space, like in sci-fi movies, would actually be silent. If you found yourself in open space, you'd see flashes and movements, but you'd hear absolutely nothing. So space isn't just dark, it's also eerily quiet. Is it true that you can see kangaroos on the streets in Australia? Absolutely true. In some Australian cities, there are so many kangaroos that they hop around the streets like regular pedestrians. They're especially common in Canberra, where kangaroos even cause traffic jams. Locals are used to this sight, but it's always a surprise for tourists. In these cities, there are even special signs warning drivers about tail-walking pedestrians. Is it possible? Paper can be stronger than steel. Special technologies can create what is known as paper armor, which when treated properly, becomes stronger than steel. For example, Japanese washi paper, used in some bulletproof vests, can withstand impacts that ordinary paper couldn't handle. This paper is treated with resins and layered, making it incredibly durable. Amazingly, paper can be used for protection, just like metal, thanks to these technologies. Did you know car aromas can reduce accidents? It's surprising but true. The right scent inside a car can make driving safer. Studies show that aromas such as lavender or vanilla can calm drivers, reduce stress, and help maintain focus. A relaxed driver is less likely to be involved in an accident, making the choice of car scent not just a pleasant detail, but also an important safety factor. Can you believe that Canada has more lakes than the rest of the world combined? Yes, it's true. Canada alone has more lakes than all other countries in the world combined. About 60% of all freshwater lakes on the planet are located in this country. From small, crystal-clear ponds to giant lakes like Lake Superior, Canada is famous for its water resources. The variety of lakes makes Canada an ideal destination for nature lovers, water sports enthusiasts, and fishermen. Impressive, isn't it? If you're planning a trip, don't forget to include a visit to one of these unique natural wonders. The chewing gum pack that changed retail forever. Imagine that the first product ever sold with a barcode was a pack of Wrigley's chewing gum. This historic event took place on June 26, 1974, in a supermarket in Ohio. This moment marked the beginning of a new era in retail, where barcodes became standard for simplifying shopping and inventory tracking. Barcodes quickly became a global standard and are still used in every store today. So the next time you buy something with a barcode, remember that it all started with a simple pack of chewing gum. Who would have thought the world's smallest fish is less than 1 centimeter long? The world's smallest fish, Podocypris progenetica, found in the waters of Indonesia, measures only 7.9 millimeters in length, less than 1/3 of an inch. Weighing just 0.004 of a gram, This transparent fish has no scales or teeth. It lives in peat swamps and feeds on plankton. Despite its tiny size, this fish faces significant threats from habitat loss and pollution, proving that even the smallest creatures play a vital role in the ecosystem. Did you know that there's a stone forest on Earth? In China's Yunnan province, you'll find one of the most unique natural phenomena, the Shailan, or stone forest. This astonishing forest isn't made of trees, but of towering limestone pillars that rise towards the sky like jagged spikes of rock. The age of this extraordinary forest is over 270 million years. Erosion from rain and wind has sculpted the rocks into such bizarre shapes. For centuries, people have attributed mystical powers to this place, and local legends claim that spirits of nature inhabit Shailan. It's so majestic and mysterious, it almost looks like a set from a fantasy movie. It turns out that in some countries you can wash banknotes. In countries like Australia and Canada, banknotes are printed on a special polymer material, not paper, making them durable and waterproof. These plastic bills are not only harder to tear, but you can accidentally wash them in your pants pocket and they'll remain intact. This innovation has reduced the cost of producing banknotes and made them more long-lasting. The future of money is money that isn't afraid of water. Imagine for a moment. The Sahara Desert is the largest desert on Earth. The Sahara Desert is not just a desert, it's a giant oven. Covering over 9 million square kilometers, it is the largest hot desert in the world. It spans much of North Africa, covering an area roughly the size of China or the United States. Temperatures in the Sahara can soar up to 58 degrees Celsius, about 136 degrees Fahrenheit, making it one of the hottest places on Earth. The Eiffel Tower grows in summer. Every year when summer hits Paris, the Eiffel Tower undergoes a little growth spurt. Its height can increase by a few centimeters due to the thermal expansion of iron. As temperatures rise, the metal expands, making the tower stretch upwards as if waking up from a winter slumber. This phenomenon shows how even majestic and sturdy structures, like the Eiffel Tower, are influenced by nature. And when summer ends and temperatures drop, the tower shrinks back to its usual height. It's a reminder that architecture and nature are always dancing together in harmony. Is it true that hippos sweat red? When hippos spend a lot of time in the sun, their skin starts to secrete a special red fluid that looks like blood. This sweat acts as both a sunscreen and an antiseptic, protecting them from sunburn and infection. It's often called blood sweat, though it contains no blood at all. This incredible secretion helps hippos withstand the intense African sun, spending most of their days in water and only occasionally coming out onto land. Did you know that kangaroos have a spare pregnancy? Kangaroos have an amazing ability that's truly astonishing. Female kangaroos can delay the development of an embryo for several months if the conditions aren't favorable for the birth of a joey. This process is called embryonic diapause. Imagine that a kangaroo can literally put its pregnancy on hold if it's already caring for a young joey or if there isn't enough food. When conditions improve, the embryo continues its development. This biological marvel helps kangaroos survive in Australia's harsh and unpredictable climate. Can you imagine that the world's largest Ferris wheel can hold over 1,000 passengers? In Las Vegas, USA, stands the giant Ferris wheel known as High Roller. This massive wheel has a diameter of 167 meters and can hold up to 1,120 passengers in 28 spacious cabins. The ride takes about 30 minutes, giving riders breathtaking views of the city. The High Roller is not just an amusement ride, but a symbol of the grandeur of Las Vegas. The secret of the Great Wall of China? Sticky rice. The Great Wall of China is one of the most impressive structures in the world. But did you know that its durability is thanks to sticky rice? Ancient builders used a mortar mixture containing this rice to bind the stones together. This unexpected culinary ingredient played a key role in strengthening one of the world's greatest wonders. It's amazing to think that something as simple as a kitchen ingredient helped build such a monumental structure. Did you know that elephants can hear with their feet? Elephants have a unique ability to sense sound waves through the ground. Their sensitive feet can detect vibrations from several kilometers away. These vibrations help elephants detect approaching predators or other herds. Furthermore, they use this ability to communicate with each other over long distances, transmitting signals and warnings. This sensitivity makes elephants remarkable animals, capable of hearing what is imperceptible to human ears. Why do leaves turn red and yellow in the fall? When autumn comes, trees turn off photosynthesis. During this process, the green pigment, chlorophyll, breaks down, and other pigments, carotenoids and anthocyanins, reveal themselves in yellow and red hues. It's like nature putting on a colorful show. Interestingly, the cooler and sunnier the autumn, the brighter these colors will be. Have you ever realized that this is nature's magical performance happening right before your eyes? Sleeping with one eye open, how dolphins and birds stay vigilant. Some animals, like dolphins and many birds, have the incredible ability to sleep with one eye open. This phenomenon is called unihemispheric sleep, where one half of the brain sleeps while the other stays awake to monitor the environment. This helps animals stay alert and avoid dangers like predators. For example, dolphins can sleep while staying on the water's surface and continue to breathe. Birds can rest in mid-flight or perched on a branch while remaining vigilant. This remarkable adaptation is an example of how nature has developed incredible survival mechanisms in the most challenging conditions. Did you know that the colored squares on toothpaste tubes aren't magic? You've probably noticed the small colored squares at the end of toothpaste tubes. Some people believe that these colored markings indicate the product's composition, whether it's natural or chemical. But the truth is, that's just a myth. These marks, which can be black, blue, red, or green, are known as eye marks and serve purely technical purposes. They help machines on the production line correctly orient the tube for packaging and labeling. These marks contain no information about the toothpaste's ingredients or quality. So next time you see such a mark, you'll know it's just a technical detail, not a sign of some mysterious chemical composition. Did you know that the King of Sweden has almost no power? Contrary to popular belief, the King of Sweden is not an active political leader. His role is purely symbolic, performing mainly ceremonial duties. Sweden is a constitutional monarchy where political power lies with the parliament and the prime minister. Nevertheless, the king continues to play an important role in the cultural and social life of the country, representing Sweden on the international stage and attending state events. Interestingly, the Swedish royal family is considered one of the most popular and respected in the world, despite having minimal political influence. What if I told you there are floating markets in some countries? In Thailand and Vietnam, you can find markets located right on the water. Traders sell fruits, vegetables, and souvenirs from small boats, creating an amazing and colorful scene. These markets are located along canals where people can literally paddle up to the goods they want. This unique tradition attracts tourists from all over the world, allowing them to immerse themselves in the local culture and trading atmosphere. Did you know that Tokyo has buildings that can grow? Tokyo has a construction technology that allows buildings to increase in height even after completion. The foundation is reinforced so that additional floors can be added later. This saves space in the metropolis and adapts to changing demands. For example, the Mizushima skyscraper was built with 14 floors, but later grew to 20. Hard to believe, but snakes can sleep with their eyes open. Snakes don't blink because they don't have eyelids. Instead, their eyes are covered by a transparent scale. During sleep, their eyes remain open, giving the impression that they are always watching their surroundings. This feature helps snakes stay alert to threats even while resting. The transparent scale also protects their eyes from dust and dirt, which is especially important for desert and forest dwellers. It's an incredible adaptation that allows them to sense danger even in their sleep. Did you know the pyramids of Giza were originally brightly colored? When we think of the Egyptian pyramids, we imagine grand but plain stone structures. However, in ancient times, they looked completely different. The pyramids were once covered in smooth white limestone, which made them shine in the sunlight, giving them a dazzling appearance. Additionally, the top of the pyramids, called pyramidions, were often made of gold or coated with gold, creating a sparkling peak. Imagine how bright and magnificent these structures must have looked in the desert several thousand years ago. Over time, the outer layers of the pyramids deteriorated, leaving only the stone cores we see today. Earth and the Moon, a dance of gravity. Fun fact, Earth is 81 times heavier than the Moon. Despite this difference in mass, Both celestial bodies significantly influence each other through gravitational forces. Earth's gravity causes tides on the moon, while the moon's pull slows down Earth's rotation. This interaction plays a crucial role in the dynamics of our planet and its satellite. Next time you look up at the moon, remember the cosmic dance happening between Earth and its faithful companion. How would you react if you found out that moving lakes exist in Kenya? In Kenya, there are unique salt lakes that change location depending on rainfall levels. These lakes can disappear for months only to reappear in a new location after the rainy season. Researchers believe that the movement of water in these lakes depends on underground rivers and tectonic shifts. Such lakes create a unique ecosystem, attracting animals and birds that follow the water. Who would have thought that King Louis XIV ruled for 72 years? Louis XIV, also known as the Sun King, holds the record for the longest reign in the history of monarchy. He ruled France for 72 years and 110 days, from 1643 to 1715. This incredible reign surpasses all other monarchs in history. During his time, France became the cultural heart of Europe, and Louis himself became the symbol of absolute power. Long live the king who ruled longer than any other. Did you know that the name John is over 4,000 years old? The name John is one of the oldest in human history, documented more than 4,000 years ago. This name has endured through countless ages and cultures, remaining relevant even today. Just imagine, millions of people throughout history have carried this simple yet powerful name, which continues to symbolize tradition and endurance. Caffeine. Energy or illusion? Caffeine is the most popular psychoactive substance in the world, but it doesn't actually give you energy. Instead, it blocks adenosine receptors in the brain, preventing them from signaling tiredness. It's a kind of trick that makes your brain feel alert and awake. What's even more fascinating is that caffeine's molecular structure is very similar to that of adenosine, allowing it to take the place of this neurotransmitter. This clever process helps us wake up in the morning and stay alert throughout the day. Now imagine, it's all just a game of chemistry. It turns out that icebergs have colorful stripes. Depending on the composition and conditions of formation, icebergs can be striped in green, blue, yellow, or even black. Green stripes are formed due to algae, blue due to dense ice, and yellow and brown due to iron presence. These colorful stripes are only visible in bright sunlight, making them even more mysterious and rare natural phenomena. Did you know the world's largest living rodent can weigh over 60 kilograms? The capybara, or water hog, is the largest rodent on Earth. It can grow up to 1.3 meters in length and weigh as much as 66 kilograms. This semi-aquatic herbivore, native to South America, has webbed feet that help it swim. Capybaras can hold their breath underwater for up to 5 minutes and are highly social animals, often living in groups of up to 100 individuals. Have you ever wondered that there are underground oceans? Beneath the Earth's surface, there are massive water reservoirs, which could be called underground oceans. The volume of water in these reservoirs exceeds that of all the oceans, lakes, and rivers on the surface. These hidden waters are located hundreds of kilometers deep underground, and scientists are just beginning to understand their role in the planet's geological processes. Did you know that Scotland has 421 words for snow? In Scotland, the language is so rich in describing weather phenomena that they have as many as 421 words for snow. This discovery was made by the University of Glasgow as part of the Historical Thesaurus of Scots project. Some of these words are unique and sound quite unusual. For example, sneasel refers to fine rain or snow, and feefle means snow swirling in the wind. This vast vocabulary demonstrates how important snow and weather are in Scottish life. Laika, the first star among space dogs. In 1957, a small Moscow stray named Laika became a true hero when she launched into space aboard Sputnik 2. Laika was the first living being to orbit the Earth, proving that life could survive in zero gravity. Her mission was a key part of the Soviet space program, which paved the way for future space exploration. Though Laika's return to Earth was not planned, her bravery inspired a generation of scientists and marked an important step toward conquering the cosmos. Laika remains a symbol of courage and sacrifice for the sake of progress. Amazing, but on Venus, it rains sulfuric acid. Imagine a planet where it rains. But instead of water, drops of sulfuric acid fall from the sky. That's exactly what happens on Venus. In its atmosphere, clouds are composed of sulfuric acid, and when it rains, the drops evaporate before reaching the surface due to extremely high temperatures, which can reach up to 470 degrees Celsius. This is one of the reasons Venus is considered one of the most hostile planets for life in our solar system. If we ever explore Venus, this hellish atmosphere would be a serious challenge for future technology. Did you know that the world's longest hair measures over 18 feet? A Chinese woman named Shi Kuping holds the Guinness World Record for the longest hair, which measures a staggering 5.62 meters. That's about 18 feet and 5 inches. She began growing her hair at the age of 13 in 1973 and hasn't cut it since. Taking care of such long hair is no easy task. She spends hours every week washing it and at least 2 hours just combing it. Sometimes she braids her hair or wraps it around herself to make moving easier. This record has remained unbeatable for decades. Why are trees in Poland mysteriously bent? In the crooked forest near the village of Gryfino in Poland, there are trees with mysterious curved trunks. Their bend begins almost at the roots, and the trees grow at an angle before straightening up. The exact reasons for this bend are unknown, and there are many theories from human intervention to natural anomalies. The crooked forest has become a popular tourist destination, drawing travelers eager to solve this natural mystery. Camels, the giants of the desert. Despite popular belief, camels didn't always live in deserts. They originally descended from ancient animals that roamed the forests of North America around 30 million years ago. Over time, they migrated to Africa and Asia, where their humps became an adaptation for surviving in hot climates. These humps, filled with fat, allow camels to go without water for up to 2 weeks. They can drink up to 50 liters of water at once, making them masters of survival in environments where other creatures would perish. Camels remain a vital part of life for many desert communities. How iron buttocks help Samsung test phone durability. Have you ever wondered how smartphone manufacturers test the durability of their devices? Samsung uses a rather unusual method to test their phones. They created a special robot shaped like human buttocks that sits on phones to simulate the pressure people exert when they sit with their phones in their back pockets. The robot even wears jeans to make the test as realistic as possible. This innovative testing helps the company ensure that their devices can withstand everyday challenges and won't break under pressure. How did a book about cheese conquer the world, even in places where it's rarely eaten? In the 1990s, Spencer Johnson's book, Who Moved My Cheese, was published. It was a motivational fable in which cheese symbolized what people want to achieve in life. The book became wildly popular worldwide, even in countries where cheese is not part of the traditional diet, such as China. This was surprising as the book wasn't about real cheese but metaphorical cheese, which became a symbol of change and personal goals. The message about adapting to change proved to be universal, and the book sold millions of copies globally. The secret of the creosote bush's longevity. In the Mojave Desert, one of the driest places on Earth, a creosote bush over 11,000 years old still grows. It's the oldest living thing on Earth, having survived entire civilizations. It grows in a ring shape, with each new sprout slowly replacing the older ones, creating an unbroken connection to past generations. Thanks to its incredible ability to survive in extreme conditions, this bush has become a symbol of resilience and longevity. The creosote bush reminds us that nature can withstand almost anything if left undisturbed. Why do the leaves of some plants glow? In the dark forests of New Zealand, you can find a remarkable plant called glow moss, which emits a faint blue-green light in the dark. This phenomenon, known as bioluminescence, attracts insects that help spread its spores. Travelers who have seen it with their own eyes say the glowing moss looks like magical lights in a nighttime forest, as if they have stepped into a fantasy world. This natural lamp adds an enchanting and mystical touch to the forest. Cucumber versus watermelon. Who wins the water battle? Believe it or not, cucumbers contain more water than watermelons. While we tend to think of watermelon as the most watery fruit, cucumbers actually contain 95% water, while watermelons have around 91 to 92%. This makes cucumbers slightly more watery than their red counterparts. So if you want to quench your thirst on a hot day, A cucumber might be even more effective than watermelon. It's amazing how such simple vegetables can hide surprising facts. Can you imagine that 1 billion seconds equals 32 years? If you calculate, 1 billion seconds equals approximately 31 years, 8 months, and 8 days. It's an example of how easy it is to get lost in the measurement of time when it is expressed in such large numbers. For comparison, in that period, a child could grow up, become an adult, and graduate from university. Time moves quietly, and realizing that 1 billion seconds covers such a long span of life makes you think about its value and fleeting nature. What if I told you the world's largest book weighs over 150 kilograms? The world's largest book, the Clenky Atlas, is housed in the British Library in London. This massive tome measures 1.75 meters tall and 1.90 meters wide, making it a true heavyweight in the literary world. Weighing in at 150 kilograms, it's almost impossible to lift without help. Despite its size, this giant atlas is not just a record holder, but a treasure trove of geography and history for book lovers.